Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm here with the amazing Lori Hirstetter. I probably said that wrong.
You got it right.
And we're awesome. We're going to do a presentation for you on some aspects of health and fitness that we think are very important. And we hope that it gives you the greatest information that you could have to help you on your journey. And feel free to ask questions in the chat, and we're going to try to leave some time at the end so that if you want to ask some questions live of us, we'll be more than happy to answer them. My name is Kevin Miles. I've had the pleasure of working in the fitness industry for over 4 decades now in various capacities that I won't get into, but a lot of that includes training and coaching and doing nutrition stuff and course creation. And I've seen a lot of things. And about a year or two ago, I had a little bit of an epiphany in terms of reverse engineering what allows people to be successful versus the ones that still struggle. And a lot of times it's not the typical things I call the X's and the O's, the training information, the nutrition information. It goes beyond that. And it goes beyond to having the right mindset and having the right determination and that mental state that allows you to take those day-to-day steps that's going to reach that success for you. And so we're going to talk a little bit about mindset and the keys to developing that. And we're going to talk about the why you do this, the what drives you forward. And hopefully that's going to set you up for some success. So in terms of the mental state, there's a couple of things you need to understand to be able to create that state. You need to understand just how important you are. And it's something that many of us take for granted. We tend to prioritize our jobs, our gardens, our cars, our families, or whatever, our guitar playing, whatever the case may be, and not really understand that we need to prioritize ourselves, and it's okay to do that. And it's like putting on that oxygen mask first when you're on the plane and then taking care of everybody else. We've been trained to take care of others instead of ourselves and prioritize them and almost feel guilty when we do something for ourselves. By investing in yourself, you're also simultaneously investing in anything and everyone you care about. So start thinking about investing in yourself, and fitness is one of the best ways to invest in yourself. So once you identify that as a priority, then the other thing that you need to understand, not only how important you are, but how important fitness is. And a lot of people don't understand that until they start to lose that fitness. And we kind of understand what health is and whether we're like healthy or not, or some varying degrees of good health, poor health, whatever the case may be. And since we live in a society that tends to prioritize, in terms of taking care of ourselves, sickness and illness over health and wellness, and we kind of wait till we get sick to go do something about it, we don't prioritize the fitness that can protect our health. Fitness is that protective layer of armor that we put around our health that can help keep us in our best possible place. It doesn't mean that it stops everything or prevents everything, but if you are proactive about being fit, that allows you to stay healthier longer, that allows you to do so much more. So when you prioritize that, you prioritize yourself and you prioritize taking care of your health through fitness, that allows you to understand that you need to do something, that you need to do something for yourself and for those goals that's going to allow you to have the best possible life. Because there's a place that I call the vanishing point. And what I mean by that is we can get to that place where we're no longer physically capable of doing the things we need to do to allow ourselves to be healthy. If we ignore our health and ignore ourselves for long enough, then we get to the point where our body starts to deteriorate. Fortunately, sometimes it does that slowly and we have a chance to turn it around, but it could also do that rapidly. So we get the aches and pains, we get the inflammation, we get the medical markers with the high blood pressure and the cholesterol levels and the chronic aches and pains and different things that cause us to age faster than we should be aging. And that's very common, and we can, only push that back for so long, but that can be a huge difference. And we can effectively get trapped, become trapped in our bodies if we are not proactive about taking care of ourselves. And that's a tough place to be. And I can relate to that more than a lot of people can, because you can get to that vanishing point almost for any reason. For example, I got to that vanishing point, or effectively the same thing, playing sports, and you get an injury, and now you have a hamstring that you pulled, or an ankle that you sprained, or a bone that you broke, and you go from one day doing all these things that you're amazing, but you're taking for granted, to barely being able to get up out of a chair or get across the room. So that allowed me to see that that's something I want to push back as long as possible. And when I see my clients age, and now as I've gotten older myself, I'll be 67 in 5 months or whatever it is. I see people around me that have hit that vanishing point way sooner than they should have. And if they just prioritize taking care of themselves because they felt that they were important enough, and taking care of their fitness because they understood how important that was, then that would allow them to take those steps and develop that mindset of, I need to do something. I want to do something. This is important. And that allows you to take those steps. And that allows you to make those changes in your diet. That allows you to make those changes in your workout program, or start that workout program. And that gives you that that positive feedback that's going to help you with your belief, because that's going to help you develop your mindset. The mindset of, I can do this, I should do this, I need to do this, and I'm going to do this. And it starts first with that importance, and then you look for a way. The other thing that stops some people from having the positive and the right mindset is limiting beliefs. They don't think that they can. They don't think that they have enough time, or they don't know what to do, or they don't think that they can have that kind of body, or live that kind of lifestyle, or be a fitness success. None of those things are true. People who are even basically fit, let alone some of the most amazing fitness people you've ever seen, have come from every size, shape, orientation, gender, age group that you can possibly think of. You can't look at someone and say, oh, well, this person already had that their whole lives. They just fell out of a tree looking that way or feeling that way. Not so much the case. I've seen it from every angle that you could possibly see it from. So you can do it. And the reason I tell you that is because to take those steps, you have to have a little bit of belief. You have to believe that you can be successful. You have to believe that these things are important. You have to believe that you're going to be important. And that's going to allow you to start developing that mindset. And the belief has to come first. You have to see it around you. You see someone else that does it. That's going to help you have a little bit of belief. You have to, get some of the information that you see what's possible. It's all, this person lost 30 pounds. Well, if they lost 30 pounds, I could lose this 20 pounds. Or if they're working out 5 days a week, I can work out 3 days a week. So just giving yourself some kind of hope, that's going to get you started. And it doesn't take much, but it's like looking into a mirror. That mirror is not going to smile at you until you smile at it first. You have to initiate that action. You have to initiate, that positive change. And that's going to allow you to take those first steps. And then you get that feedback. You get that smile back. You change that diet a little bit and you feel better. You start working out a little bit and you get some positive reinforcement from it. And that belief grows and that mindset grows. So start with the belief. Start with understanding how important you are. Start with understanding how important fitness is, and just take the steps. Sometimes we need some faith to do it, but if you allow yourself to believe in yourself and then you go take those steps, the universe, fitness will give back positive things for you. And now you'll start to feel better. And then you're going to really start to develop a stronger mindset, a sense of determination, that mental state of, I can do this and I'm going to do this and I will do this and I need to do this. And I'll say one more thing about the reasons we should do this. And then we call that the why. Why am I doing this? What is it in it for me? And your why is something that you need to find. Your why is something that can change throughout time. And a lot of times with fitness, people start out with a cosmetic reason. They want to look a certain way. They want to weigh something. They want to, change their dress size or their pant size, or, perform better in a sport. All of those things are fine. Whatever gets you started is fine. But what you're going to discover is there's things that you're going to get out of fitness that you never would have predicted until you start going down that path. And when I say fitness, I just mean also health, because your fitness is in a base of health. So as you feel better, as you get more energy, as you develop more confidence when you do this, that's going to fuel you and feed you. And I'll tell you a secret. Most people think that the main reason that people are successful is because of an appearance. Appearance and how you look is not what's going to keep you going. It's how you feel. The better you feel, the longer you're going to be able to do it. And so that's a good place to start for some people, and it's a very common place to start. But when you feel better, when you have more energy, when you are alert, when you don't have the aches and pains, when it's easier to walk up those stairs or get out of a chair or whatever the case may be, how you feel is going to keep you going forward. That's going to be something that's going to say, yeah, I really like this. I really enjoy this. I don't want to lose this. More so than the look. Because I've coached a lot of athletes for physique competitions, and I've seen them develop the most amazing looks you can imagine. But it wasn't enough to keep them there. Not just beyond, just for the show, but even beyond that. And they swing back so far because the look itself didn't allow them to be driven enough to stay forward. You also have to feel a certain way about yourself and about your health and be feeling good. So you have to get it in a way that's going to help you. And I'll talk a little bit later about what makes a program successful versus one that's not. But I wanted to point that out. Having that why is probably going to be something beyond what you initially think it is. And that's one of the beautiful things about fitness. And I really truly believe if people understood all the things they got out of fitness and following a fitness lifestyle, then a lot more people would embrace that and accept that. So, but we tend to wait until something's wrong. We tend to wait till we have a problem. We tend to wait till we're getting closer and closer and closer to that vanishing point. And that's scary because we're always playing catch up when we don't need to be. And we could have decades of having a healthier, more fun, more functional, more energetic lifestyle if we start this and keep this going than if we wait to there's a problem that we're trying to solve. And I'll give you one more example. And I need to do a little more research and remember this lady's name, but she's an orthopedic surgeon and she's really in health and fitness and does a lot of weight and resistance training. And I was listening to a lecture that she gave, and she was talking about working with so many elderly patients. And we've all heard the almost cliche of someone getting older and they have a fall and they break something, they break a hip, they break a leg, or something like that, which, is sad. And that's something we definitely want to avoid. What she said she discovered to her absolute horror, which also was to my absolute horror, was that people's bones over time were becoming so soft in some points and brittle in some other points. They weren't falling and breaking their bones. The bones were breaking while they were standing or walking, and then they fell. So think about that. You're just standing up, and all of a sudden a bone breaks, and then you have this fall. That's a place we don't want to be if we don't ever have to be there. And we take for granted what we can do right now, but we can't afford to take that for granted. We have to prioritize ourselves enough. We have to prioritize our health enough. And so that's a why that I have now. When as I get older and I've seen people my age or younger have problems getting out of a chair or doing this or doing that, and just seeing what's around us. And I don't want to look at that as a negative thing or a fear mongering thing, but you want to be able to have that enhanced and healthy life and not wind up being trapped in your body if at all possible. So look at your life, look at what you want to do, look at where you want to be, look at for how long you want to do it and be the best version of yourself. And start to develop that why. Start to develop it from the base of I am important. Fitness and health is important. I can do this. I'm going to do this. And then enforce that with the why to keep doing it and keep going forward. So get in touch with your why, get in touch with your reason, get in touch with the things that drive you. If you're not the kind of person that likes prioritizing yourself, understand that you're prioritizing your family by investing in yourself and in your health. So I wanted to start off with that. Hope that makes sense to you. And I want to talk to the amazing Lori, and she can tell us her story about the things that she discovered and what her why is, and that's going to help us have some more information to drive us down the road.
Thanks, Kevin. I feel like in some ways I just keep taking notes because you're offering many great things to the folks that are listening today. We're very lucky to have you in this community that is the MLT. As Kevin said, my name is Lori Hierstetter. I am nowhere as seasoned as Kevin in this, but I did want to share my experience with Life Plus, with the products, with developing my why. And a lot of what Kevin has said already, I'll be echoing in my experience in my story. So I'll start with, where I feel like my fitness journey began. And it was about 10 years ago. And it was the very first time that I ever signed up to join a gym. I was not a lifetime fitness person. I don't think unfit, but I certainly wasn't making it a priority. And in turning 40, actually inspired by my sister. She was on her own fitness journey, and she said one day, how about we go meet at the park and go for a walk together? I'm all in. Anytime I can spend time with her, I happen to think she's a pretty cool human. So we get there and we start walking, and she says, I think I'm going to jog. And I didn't really realize that she had started to do some things for herself, and she didn't jog, she ran. And so I decided to jog, and I didn't last long because it was not something that I had built up to, and she had. And she lapped me. Um, my sister is a couple years younger than I am. So it wasn't like I'm not competitive. It was more like a wake up call that, wow, look at her. Look what she's doing for herself. And I'm a couple years older than her. Maybe I ought to be paying a little bit more attention to this. So I joined the gym. And it was a big decision. And this is where mindset first came in for me. Because at the time, I had a 10-year-old son. And anyone who's out there listening who is a parent knows they are your priority. And being a good parent and taking care of your kids and raising them, it's hard to find time for yourself sometimes. So my first identification with mindset was really about self-care is not selfish. So, in order to be a good mom and to have the energy to do the things with a young man with lots of energy, you need to take care of yourself. So, to take time away from home and maybe doing something a little quicker on dinner prep to make some time in my life to be able to go to the gym was a first step in mindset. So there's a lot more to say, and we'll see what there's time for to expand on some of that. But what I want to do now is switch to today. 10 years later, I turned 50. That was a big deal for me. So just to kind of run real fast through the 10 years, the gym became part of my life on a more regular basis. And there's some steps and stages in that we're going to spend some time on if there's time in the call to do this. But what I will say is that I went from eating relatively healthy and working out several times a week as a habit, as a lifestyle, but it wasn't having the same results. Because anyone who's out there who is a woman of my age may know that things change when you get to a certain point as a lady. And I was seeing that. I was seeing that all of my efforts looked about the same, but the results weren't. And some of it, it's funny. I think you said, Kevin, about, it's starting out about the way that you look. So I will admit that a lot of it for me was that I wasn't gaining weight, but I could see differences in my body. I didn't like the way my skin looked or my hair looked. And all of this sounds like vanity, and it is. And so I thought to myself, I need to do something because the fitness and the nutrition alone isn't enough. And that's when I found Life Plus. And there's a lot we can say about nutrition and about supplements. That's another call. Most of you on this are either already using Life Plus or you're thinking about it, and you don't need to hear that for today's purposes. So we'll save that for another time. But what I want to say is, in July, I did my first reset, and all of the things that I was talking about started to change. So not only was I still eating well and doing the fitness part, but I suddenly had energy. And energy is such a key to this because the supplements provide you some things, and the list goes on and on. I noticed differences in my hair. I noticed differences in my skin. The energy was great. I had less inflammation. Spend a lot of time on the treadmill. So I would get like this lower back pain, and it went away. And so it's amazing what happens when you are able to use some things, and the supplements are a part of that, to allow you to continue on, to do something sustainable. And that's another thing that Kevin said that I will echo is that, you have all these great ideas and goals and you want to do it, but you physically feel challenged to do it as you start to age. The aches and the pains and the fatigue and all of those things. And that's what Life Plus has done for me. So instead of feeling at 50, like there's a midlife crisis, I feel like I'm having some midlife magic. And in 6 months later, I'm doing my second reset. I'm part of the large group of this community right now, doing it again. And I'm feeling the same things again and renewed and refreshed. And my body is nourished and I have energy to burn. And it is allowing me to accomplish some big things. So I went from it being about vanity to vitality. The life energy that I feel and the list of things that I want to do, I feel much more capable to do them now. And it's great to be able to share that with those of you out there who are in a similar place. Your why might be different than mine. We all have different situations in life, but I do know that these products have a tremendous effect on your ability to do the things. Um, Kevin, I'll kick it back to you just to, say anything that you feel is appropriate for this piece. And then at some point, I'd love to talk a little bit more about community support and how that's made a difference for me.
Awesome, Lori. Thank you. And just to reiterate what Lori says, how you feel is everything. And as a society, we are undernourished and overfed, generally speaking, which is why we feel collectively as bad as we do, and why we have all the health problems that we have. And I said I was going to talk about why certain programs don't work. And there's a lot of that, especially this time of year. I've seen so many people go so hardcore and they get to that state of that mindset of, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And they go about it in the wrong way. And it's like trying to sprint a marathon because you go from being overfed and undernourished to underfed and undernourished. So I've seen people force their bodies to change in a way that's just not sustainable, and they'll create a change. They'll lose 10 pounds, 20 pounds, 30 pounds, whatever the case may be. And when it's over, when they get there, instead of feeling good about themselves, instead of feeling healthier, they feel absolutely horrible. They have less energy. They're even more tired, more achy, more grouchy. It's harder for them. And so you can imagine they're not going to stay with it. They shouldn't have been on those types of programs in the first place. You don't have to go from doing nothing to doing everything. One reason why Lori mentioned the metabolic reset, one reason why it is so great, it is so successful, is that you are giving your body an elite level of the best nutrients that's possible. you're flushing toxins at the same time while you're flooding your body with nutrients. So you feel better, you feel more energetic, you feel more alert. And the cosmetic changes of the losing the weight, and if you that's something you're trying to do, that's going to feed and fuel you that much more because now you're like, oh, gee, you like what you see, but it's that feeling better, and it's like, gee, I can do this, and it's almost a little bit of a hack because you don't really have to change much else other than change your diet and go on a more anti-inflammatory diet and just eat better and healthier and then provide yourself with this elite level of nutrients, and your body's like, oh my gosh, I've been starving for this, and it makes this shift for you. And once you have that shift, then let us you just smiled into the mirror. Now it's smiling back hard because now like that opens the door. Well, I feel good now. Maybe I do want to go work out. Maybe I do want to go on a bike ride. Maybe I do want to like take up jogging. Maybe I do want to take up pickleball or whatever the case may be. So the other side of that coin is that people that don't do it in the right way and they're just miserable about it. And that's damaging to you emotionally long term. And that's too much of the fitness industry. You just can't hold your breath indefinitely to get there. And I'll give you a quick example. I had a woman I was working with who was getting ready for a physique competition, and she'd worked with some coaches prior to me that were just killing her in the gym. Like her cardio levels were so high and her calories were so low. She was just so undernourished and so overworked that she took a break and she came back to meet with me because she thought I heard that I did it in a healthier way. And we did our first initial program, and she was supposed to do 20 minutes of cardio on the treadmill. And within 5 minutes of being on the treadmill, she's crying. That's what's that's how much emotional damage she had before when she was doing that 2 hours a day of cardio. It triggered her because that's what that had meant to her. It had been so miserable for her that she couldn't do it anymore. And she shouldn't have been on that program in the first place. And I see that all the time this time of year. I used to manage Gold's Gym, and I was in there, for hours. And I not only saw that person that lost that weight in 3 months, I got to see them the 3 months after that, and the 6 months after that. Did they keep it off? That person that lost that 30 pounds, did it stay off? That person that lost that 100 pounds, did it stay off? Did that person that's in there every single day, were they in there every single day 6 months from now? And you can see the patterns, and you can see what works and what didn't work for people. And if you go about it in the wrong way, if you undernourish yourself, then you're setting yourself up for a failure, and you don't have to go do everything to be successful. You just have to get started. You just have to do enough to start giving yourself progress. You have to change your diet enough to give yourself, a chance to manage your weight and to be healthier. You have to change your exercise program or activity level enough to give yourself moving in the right direction. You don't have to go on an Arnold Schwarzenegger Mr. Universe program or a CrossFit Champions program or anything like that to really get the results that you want. And there's two things that's going to make a fitness program be successful. There's two things you have to have. One is you have to have progress. You have to see yourself moving in the direction that you want to go. It doesn't necessarily have to be fast, but you have to be going in a positive direction. If you're not going in that positive direction, just sooner or later, you're just not going to be able to justify continuing to do it. So you have to be making some kind of change in the direction. So whatever program you're on, whatever nutrition program you're on, whatever exercise program you're on, the combination of those things has to be moving you in a direction where you can see the progress. That's going to feed you, and that's going to allow you to keep going because it's going to fuel your drive. The other thing is you have to some degree enjoy what you're doing. It can't be something that you just absolutely hate, because even if it gives you the progress, you're just not going to keep doing it. You're not going to keep doing it for as long as you could or for as long as you should to really get to where you want to go. Or you'll get there and like you don't like it, and you'll stop and you'll come back. So you have to find that balance, that sweet spot of something that's going to give you progress versus something that and something that's going to enjoy versus something that you just force yourself to do for a period of time. Because even if you get the look and the results that you want, you just won't stay there. And you can look on paper and say, I'm going to do this program, I'm going to do that program. The thing that makes a diet be successful, the number one determining factor is compliance. Can you stay on that? Can you stay with that? So it can't be something that starves you of nutrients. It can't be something that's so difficult to stay on that it's not sustainable. So you don't always have to go on the most extreme diet program or the most extreme workout program in order to be successful. You can ease into it. And there's a lot of stories I could tell you. I'll tell you a quick one. One of my good buddies, and I won't say his name, but I will send this to him. He watched a movie, I think it's called The Game Changers or something like that. It's about becoming vegan and all the health benefits of doing this. And this friend wasn't really too up on eating fruits and vegetables and natural foods, but he said he's going to make this shift and do better. And this is one of my barbecue eating buddies that we go hang out with. And so he said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to change it. I'm going to become vegan. I said, and I was as much food as we'd eaten together. I said, okay, I'll just be supportive. Well, you got this, man. You can do it. I'm behind you, you know. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm just going to be supportive. He said he's doing it for health reasons. He thinks it's going to be the best thing for him. Cool. I'm ready to support him. It was literally 3 days later when he's texting me from the drive-through line at In-N-Out Burger saying, I can't do it. And I was just laughing. And you could kind of see it coming because it was just something that he wasn't going to enjoy it enough to stay with it. I'm not saying he shouldn't have done it or should do it, you know, and there's reasons for doing and making whatever changes that you need to make. But you don't always need to make a wholesale change that's not sustainable for you. You just have to do what your body needs for you to do to get moving in the right direction. And then that can grow momentum and you can get more and more and more and more into it. And like I said before, your why is always going to change or evolve and grow, and your reasons are going to change and expand. And Lori's talking about her children. I've seen so many people whose children work out regularly because the parents did, you know, and that trickles down. And you're allowing your family to be healthier because you took that time and care to put it into yourself. And now that's affecting your family. That's affecting the things around you. Lori's sister affected her to start working out. And that's trickling down to Lori's friends and then Lori's family and Lori's children and then ultimately maybe Lori's grandchildren. All those things matter. All those things are powerful. So think about those things. When you're investing in yourself, it's not just you. And when you're investing in your health, it's not just you. And yeah, to not make this sound like a Life Plus commercial, I've been using supplements for decades. I discovered Life Plus about 7 years ago, and it was a massive upgrade to everything I'd ever used before. And I've been using it every day since, and I'll use it every day for the rest of my life. Different products of that company. They're that good. So explore those things. Talk to the person that recommended you to come here and learn more. But taking care of yourself comes in a lot of different ways. And we have to sustain that energy and that drive. There's the people that have a problem getting started, and then the next level is people that start, but they can't stay with it. And then there's the people that stay with it, but they're not getting the progress that they want. And so you have to nourish your drive. You have to keep yourself going. And Lori mentioned community and who's around you and your environment and how you control that can be huge. And so I'm going to throw it back to Lori so she can talk about what that means to her and what her community is and what she does to have the right community.
Yeah, this is actually probably one of my favorite parts of my story because I get to talk about the people that have helped me get there. I wouldn't be able to be as successful as I've been without them. So I mentioned joining the gym 10 years ago, and I said, I'll flash forward to today. But in between there, I met a group of people that go to the gym when I go. And we start our day. I know you'll think this is probably crazy, but at 4 a.m., we go that early because it's where it fits best into all of our schedules. We are all in a similar age group. We all have very busy jobs. And we all of us have said that if we were to try to go at night after work, it wouldn't happen. So we go in the morning. We start the day with a win. It's like making your bed. And so I have this community of about a dozen people that work out together every morning. We are there at 4 o'clock, and you can skip a day. But if you miss 2, you're probably going to get a text. And if you miss three, they're probably calling law enforcement to come look for you, because it is just, it's accountability. Having those accountability partners is so important, because they won't let you fall off the rails. The other is, you said two things, Kevin, about progress, and it has to be fun. So I'm not a shy, quiet person, and I like my social time. And so when I go to the gym, I'm not just working out. I am also meeting a social need. We talk the whole time. We're solving the problems of the world while we're there, and we're staying fit at the same time. So 30 minutes on the treadmill next to my girl, Cecilia, is very different than 30 minutes on the treadmill by myself. So having a community is a very important part of success for me. It has made it more sustainable. And because of that, it sort of created the model for now that I am building beyond that gym family to creating a new circle. In my small town where we live, we have recently started a wellness group. And it is really just about supporting one another on our fitness goals, on our nutrition goals, whatever it may be, that you say it out loud to somebody and you put it out into the universe. And now it means more to you, and it means more to the person that you told. And then you can do it with that person or that group of people. And if this is anything that inspires anyone out there, first of all, you're welcome to look into our group. But if you want to start your own, it's very simple. You just have to have like-minded people who are willing to support and encourage one another. If it's a group walk, or it's pickleball, or if it's a yoga class, whatever it is, it's just a lot more fun sometimes to do it with others. The other thing is, goes without saying, is another community, which is this MLT community. The resources and support that are available are second to none. There are so many people like Kevin that are part of this, who are providing all of their wisdom and experience. And if you don't take notes like I do, you should be, because there's just so much there, and there's something for everyone. And we're very fortunate in building that community and making it fun, and having accountability with some people who care about you. Just, it makes it so much easier to do. And then the other thing I'm going to say on your second point, Kevin, about the progress and seeing it, is I mentioned before about, the mindset and how there are stages and phases of that. I wrote something up real quick to just kind of run you through an example of how that can progress over time, with how it progressed for me on fitness as one example. But before I do that, I'd love to send it out to who's listening. If you have the ability to jot something down, or even if you just make a mental note, I have a few questions for you. So, what motivated you to either start Life Plus, or to hop on this call, or to check into this? I'm sure there's someone in the community that you talked to, so that was a piece of it. But what was your why? What was your reason? Were you looking to lose weight? Were you looking to feel better? Were you thinking you needed to eat better? What was your reason? So jot that down. Now that you're in it and you're feeling some things, you've gone from whatever that was, that little goal, that little why, to now, I believe, if you haven't already, you will feel the energy to make your why bigger. Because as Kevin said, we'll use my family status as a piece of this. It went from I want to feel better, to I'm setting an example for my kids, to I want to be around for the grandparent years and be able to do the fun things with them and be active with them. And so my why has grown. And the other way in which it's grown is wanting to share. So that's why I'm here. That's why I'm saying to you what I am, because it is meaningful to me to know that somebody else can feel better in the same way that I have. So if anything I say helps you to do that, then it's a win for me, and it helps me stay motivated on my own journey. And then again, the questions for you: what was your little why? And give some thought to what your bigger why could be, and how you can achieve that, and how this community might be able to do that. Okay. With that in mind, I'm going to give you sort of the rundown on my gym story and how that applies to how it can progress for you over time, to have your why be powerful enough to sustain you. So, mindset. I told you already this one for me, which was self care is not selfish. That was step number one. The belief, self belief, that I could make this a priority for me. The next step of that was making a commitment. And that's when you're moving your belief into intention. And that's joining the gym, taking it from an idea to doing something that could affect some results. Next level, self discipline. So it's one thing to join the gym, and it's another one to go to the gym, even on the days that you don't want to go to the gym. When I went to the gym this morning, it was snowing, and it would have been very easy to just pull the covers up and stay warm and not have to shovel it off and just, sleep in. But I went because the same person I mentioned, Cecilia, was going to be there waiting for me to walk and talk, and I wasn't going to let her down. Then going from self discipline, next you're establishing a habit, because not only have you pushed through doing it when it's not easy to do it, but the resistance at the habit level is pretty much gone. At this point, you're doing it consistently, consciously still, but consistently. So that could look like, all right, well, I'll go to the gym when I don't always want to I am going to the gym and I have a schedule. And whatever that looks like for you, maybe it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and on Sundays I go in for a half an hour of stretching on the mat. Whatever that looks like, then it's a habit and it's part of your regular routine. Final step is its lifestyle. And now you've moved from beyond it being something you do all of the time to it is part of your identity. And my example for me on that actually goes outside of the gym, because the gym group knows that I'm going to be there and they're there with me. But I go to work. And you know what I'm known as at work? Muscles McGee. They recognize me as the one who, if they need something lifted, or there's packages to bring in, or there's a case of water for a function or whatever, I'm the one they call. Not only does my gym family know that I'm going to be at the gym, but my work family does too. And they count on me. And part of my identity is Muscles McGee because of it. So that's just a fun example for you of how moving from mindset to commitment to self-discipline to habit to lifestyle is how you make it sustainable. And what Kevin said about building your why, figuring it out, making it strong enough to sustain you is how you will be successful in the long term. Kevin, yours again, if you have some more things to add, I'm sure you do.
That was amazing, Lori. Thank you. And I just want to reiterate what you're saying about community. Your community could be like Lori's amazing community, or your community could be like one other person, or two people, or that group that you go to see when you go take a class or something like that. So when I was managing Gold's Gym, we had some amazing instructors, and there are people that we had some classes that were so popular, people would stand outside the room and work along with them because they couldn't fit all the people in the room. That's a community, and they enjoy being there. And I did some nutrition at a cardio kickboxing place, and it was the same thing. These people were like hardcore there because they love being in that environment. At the same time, community could be like one or two people. Like me and my buddies, when we go to Vegas and for fitness events, we hit the gym. That's part of what we're doing, and there's just more. That's one of the most fun things we do during that trip. It's community. It's someone waiting for you, and it just gives you that little extra bit of energy and lifestyle. It doesn't even have to be someone that you work it out with. Just knowing somewhere someone else is doing those things, and it allows you to stay focused, because it is lifestyle, like Lori said. You are not going to enjoy every single workout that you do, but you enjoy the lifestyle, and you enjoy how that makes you feel, and you enjoy the things that gives you. Because also, like she said, fitness isn't just how we look, it's also how we feel about ourselves, and that mental and emotional health, and being able to talk and communicate and get that support. on subjects other than fitness, we need that. We've lost that. And COVID was part of the problem. We got disconnected and we're so much on our devices. We're craving community. And that's why the MLT group is so great. And that's why I have a community that I just started. And those things are important. You need that support. And one more thing I'll say about fitness is it can show up when you don't expect it to. It's not just in the gym, it's outside the gym. It's can you carry that bag of groceries up those flight of stairs? Can you carry yourself up that flight of stairs? A couple of nights ago, I was accompanying my niece and some of her friends to her what will be her future high school. And it was dark and we are kind of navigating around and seeing where certain things were. And they took a little offshoot path that went up this hill and then got to a point where there was no place to go. You had to literally jump down or you had to go back around and do your thing. And so all these little 13-year-olds jumped down and she's looking back at me like, am I going to jump down too? I'm like, yeah, I did. And no problem. And that's the little fitness showing up that you don't really expect it to do that, it could have easily been something that, oh, I can't do that. I got to go back this way and go all the way around and meet them over here. So lifestyle mirrors your life and it's going to help you in ways that you can't know and you can't measure. And that's why just getting yourself started in the right way that's not overwhelming, that's going to give you the opportunity to feed and fuel your drive and keep going and find more great things. And it's how we take care of ourselves mentally, emotionally, spiritually, nutritionally, and with exercise. And that's going to give you things that are beyond measure. And I've gotten those things, and Lori's gotten those things, and Todd's gotten those things, and many people on this call have gotten those things. And so I'm here to tell you that it's more than worth it to prioritize yourself, prioritize fitness, find that right mindset, find your why, and believe, and then get going and continue forward. So I'm so happy that you guys were here today. I hope this helped you. Lori, if you have anything else to say, please do. And if you guys have any questions, please put them in the chat, or we'll actually stop the recording and stay on if you have any questions you want to ask us. But Lori, is there anything else you want to say, or
No, I was going to offer the same thing that if you want to stop recording so people are comfortable, if there are any questions that you want to ask, we're happy to do that now or after.
cool. So thank you guys, and check us out in the MLT group on Facebook, and you can check me out at bodysport.coach, which is my website. And again, we thank you for the opportunity to allow us to be here. We thank Todd Burrier for the opportunity to allow us to be here, and we'll see you out there.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.